sa aral mong nagsisilbing liwanag.
Proving Catholic idolatry. It has been a tradition how Catholics glorifies religious images through veneration and procession, such as the Black Nazarene events. These images they venerate are not idols as they claim, because idols, as their theology supplies, are those images considered as gods, whereas they never consider their images as gods. Thus in their view, they are not practicing idolatry. That is how resplendent is their stand. I would like to prove that their practice is idolatry though. I would like to present one thing, that idols are not necessarily those considered gods. Idols could be the Catholic images. How shall I do it? Let us see. Exodus 20 verses 4 to 5. Thou shalt not make unto thee any idol, or any likeness, of anything, that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them. Unquote. The verses suggest one thing. Do not bow down to idols. Obviously, I believe no one will deny that this thing speaks about idolatry. Notice the word used, the action provided for doing idolatry, bow down. Let us see what it really meant in Hebrew. Shacha, a primitive root. To depress, that is to say, prostrate, especially reflexive, in homage to royalty or God. Unquote. As provided, bow down is shacha, which means prostrate in homage to royalty or God. In other dictionary, it means prostrate in homage to superior or God. If that is the action used in doing idolatry, then idolatry would mean prostrate to idols in homage to superior or God. What is idolatry then? Is it about worshipping those who are considered gods only? As the Hebrew definition suggests, idolatry is prostrating in homage to God, meaning prostrating to idols in homage to what is considered God. God could be the idol or something it represents. Such as Zeus, they prostrate to his image, in homage to the alleged god, Zeus, who was thought as God himself. Or sometimes, they consider the idols themselves as God. Either way, it is idolatry. But is idolatry only regarding to those considered gods? As suggested in the Hebrew definition, it likewise includes the worship of what is termed as superior. Prostrate in homage to superior or God. It did not specify if the superior is God, thus, it could be anyone bearing superior status, not necessarily God. It could be human beings as Mary and the Catholic saints. Thus we can safely say that idolatry is prostrating to idols in homage to what is superior. The idol, logically, could be the superior, or it could be the one the idol represents. Such as in the case of Catholics, it could be Mary or their saints. What do I mean? That idols are not necessarily referring to gods, but likewise, to superior beings. So if the Catholic images bear the incorporation of Mary or the Catholic saints, as the superior being they venerate, then, obviously, these Catholic images are idols. What is idolatry then? Prostrating to images in homage to what is superior, such as Mary and their saints. They would deny it apparently as they never actually prostrate, but notice the semblance and relativity to idolatry, its intent and purpose is quite similar. Actually, worship is not only through prostration, it could be, as suggested, that worship is by kneeling too. It is not necessarily prostrate, such as how Solomon worshipped God in 1 Kings 8 verse 54 as it say, from kneeling on his knees with his hands spread up to heaven. Unquote. Or how God requires him to be worshipped, that is, by bending of the knees. Isaiah 45 verse 23. I have sworn by myself, the word is gone out of my mouth in righteousness, and shall not return, that unto me every knee shall bow, every tongue shall swear. Unquote. So as a hint, worship is through bending of the knees, thus when applied to idols, then obviously, it is idolatry. So are Catholics doing idolatry? They kneel down to images, in homage to superior beings as Mary and their saints. How is that not idolatry? But objection may come like, Joshua bowed down before the Ark of the Covenant which bore the two images of the cherubim. Did he do idolatry? My answer: obviously not. He was not doing idolatry because God approved of it. Whatsoever God approves is necessarily authoritative. God approved it in Joshua 3 verse 7. Now, as for Catholics, did God approve of your custom regarding images of Jesus, Mary, and the saints? Who authorized such custom? God didn't approve of yours, thus yours is idolatry. Yet they said, Jesus called the temple that had been adorned with graven images as a house of prayer, which naturally, they would be bowing down to these images in Matthew 21 verses 12 to 13. The thing is, it isn't intentional to bow on these graven images. It lacked a principal ingredient, that is, intention. What was prohibited by God is to bow down on images in homage to superior or God, thus prerequisite for it must be the intervention of intent. Did they intentionally bow to the temple images to give honor to a superior being or God? They didn't. So that isn't idolatry. Whereas yours is an intentional bowing to images in honor to whom it represents, superior being or God, thus it's idolatry. Thank you.
Sa lamang na